You will never have to spend money on new saws if you know this. The blade may be rusty, the teeth may be dull, and crooked cuts can ruin a good piece of wood. But underneath all that damage, there may still be a solid tool worth saving. Today, with my years of woodworking experience, I'm going to show you a simple way to bring this old wood saw back to life. If this method works, it could help you keep using this saw for many years to come. Welcome back to Dan Fix. I'm Dan. First, let's see how bad this saw really is. When I try to cut this piece of wood, the blade does not bite cleanly. It slides on the surface, the cut starts crooked, and every stroke needs too much force. That tells us the saw is not only dirty. The teeth are dull, the blade is rusty, and the saw needs a full restoration before it can work properly again. So I remove the handle from the blade. Keep every screw and small part in a stainless tray so nothing gets lost on the bench. A saw handle may look simple, but if one screw disappears, reassembly becomes much harder later. To start cleaning this blade, we need something unusual. I take a few pieces of charcoal from the stove and place them into a bowl. Then I put the charcoal into a plastic bag and crush it with a hammer. Work slowly here because charcoal dust can fly into the air. Try not to breathe the dust and keep the bag closed while crushing. Once the charcoal becomes a fine powder, prepare a few lemons and cut them in half. What do you think charcoal and lemon have to do with a rusty saw blade? Now squeeze the lemon juice into the bowl of charcoal powder. Stir everything until it becomes a dark paste. This mixture is not magic, but it has a useful purpose. Lemon juice has mild acidity that can help loosen surface rust and grime. Charcoal powder gives the paste body and adds gentle abrasion when we scrub later. Now spread this paste over the saw blade. Cover the rusty areas on one side first, then turn the blade over and cover the other side. Be careful around the teeth. Even a dull saw can still cut your skin. After both sides are coated, place paper towels over the paste. The paper towels help hold moisture against the metal so the mixture stays in contact longer instead of drying out too quickly. Let the blade sit for about 2 hours. After the waiting time, remove the paper towels and rinse the blade with water. At first, the surface still looks dark, but watch what happens when I scrub it with a sponge. The rust begins to lift away with only light pressure. This is the real answer to the charcoal and lemon question. The lemon helped loosen the old rust, and the charcoal gave the surface a mild scrubbing action. The blade already looks much cleaner, but it is not bright enough yet, and it is definitely not sharp enough. Cleaning is only the first step. Now we continue with sanding. I sand along the length of the blade, not randomly across it. Long, even strokes help the surface look cleaner and reduce deep scratch marks. After sanding one side, rinse it with water. Look at that. The steel color is starting to come back. I did not expect the charcoal and lemon mixture to help this much, but the sanding step is what really brings the metal back. Continue the same process on the other side. Work slowly near the teeth because the edge can catch the sandpaper or your finger. When the rust has been removed from both sides, wipe the blade completely dry. Do not leave water sitting on bare steel. If the blade stays wet, rust can return very quickly. The saw looks much better now, but a shiny blade does not mean a sharp saw. The next step is the part that decides whether this tool can actually cut again. Prepare 2 wooden strips about the same length as the saw blade. Place the blade between the 2 strips, leaving the teeth exposed. Then secure the ends with 2 clamps. This holds the thin blade more firmly and helps reduce vibration while filing. Now clamp the whole setup in a vise. The blade must be steady. If it moves while filing, the teeth will not sharpen evenly. Before using the file, look closely at the teeth. A handsaw has teeth that alternate in direction. Some lean one way, and the next group leans the other way. If we file the wrong direction, we can ruin the tooth shape instead of restoring it. So I mark the teeth first. One mark shows the teeth that face in one direction. The next mark shows the teeth that face the opposite direction. This makes the sharpening process easier to follow. Have you ever sharpened saw teeth by hand before? Now use a file and start with the first marked group. Hold the file at the same angle as the original tooth shape. Do not change the angle too much. Push the file in one controlled direction, then lift it away. Do not drag it back and forth like a saw. A file cuts best on the push stroke. Work one tooth at a time. Try to give each tooth a similar number of strokes. If one tooth gets filed much more than the others, the saw can cut unevenly. The goal is not to remove a lot of metal. The goal is to bring back a clean cutting point. After finishing one side, turn the setup and file the other group of teeth from the opposite direction. Follow the marks. Keep the same angle. Keep the strokes steady. This part takes patience, but it is where the saw begins to come back to life. When the filing is finished, look at the teeth. The edges are brighter, and the points look much sharper than before. But sharp teeth alone are not enough. A saw also needs tooth set. Tooth set means the teeth are opened slightly left and right. This creates a cut that is a little wider than the saw blade itself. That extra clearance reduces friction and helps stop the blade from getting stuck in the wood. To make a simple setting tool, I prepare a thin steel strip. Use a cutting wheel to make a small slot at one end. Wear eye protection here because metal sparks and tiny fragments can fly out. The slot will fit over one saw tooth at a time. Now set the teeth using the same marks from the sharpening step. Place one tooth into the slot and bend it very slightly to one side. Do not bend too far. Too much set can make the saw wander, cut rough, or even break a tooth. After one group is done, move to the other group and bend those teeth in the opposite direction. Work slowly and keep the pressure light. The finished tooth line should not look flat like before, but it should also not look wild or uneven. A good set is small, balanced, and consistent. Now the saw has three important things: a cleaner blade, sharper teeth, and enough clearance to keep it from binding. Reinstall the handle and tighten the screws firmly. Do not strip the holes or crack the handle. A loose handle can make even a sharp saw feel weak and unsafe. If the blade still has moisture on it, you can warm it very lightly to dry the surface, but do not heat it red hot. Too much heat can damage the temper of the steel and make the blade worse. Let the metal cool completely before adding any oil. Now spray a thin layer of WD-40 on the blade. WD-40 helps push away moisture and gives the steel a temporary barrier against rust. Now comes the final test. Place the saw back on the wood and start cutting again. This time the blade bites much faster. It does not slide across the surface like before. The teeth pull into the wood, the cut feels straighter, and the saw moves with much less effort. At the beginning, this old handsaw was rusty, dull, and almost useless. After cleaning the blade, sanding the surface, sharpening each tooth, and setting the teeth for clearance, it is ready to work again. Tell me what country you're watching from. I'd love to learn how people in your part of the world restore old saws or sharpen hand tools. If you found this useful, hit like, subscribe to Dan Fix, and tell me what old hand tool we should restore next.